Hey, everybody, it's Mike, and this is Not Your Mother's Day Fantasy League podcast. I'm your host, Mike. As always, I'm joined with Jason and Dave. How we doing, guys?
Good. How you doing, Mike?
Doing excellent. How was your holiday long weekend, hopefully?
A lot of football. That's all that
A lot of
matters.
football, long weekend. Kids came up this weekend. Good weekend.
Sounds good. Lots of football, lots of family. I'm good with all those things. No delay. We're jumping right into our week 11 recap or week 12 recap. My
Week
goodness.
12, but before we get there, you got some business to address of week 11. What happened on week 11 between you and Aaron? Aaron thinks he doubles his win column for the week with a win over you, but what happens late in the week?
I don't know exactly. What I do know is that after that Monday night game, I had 305 and change. Aaron had like 309 and change, and it showed me with an L and Aaron with a W. I went to set my lineups or my rosters Thursday morning, and it flipped. It took roughly 9 points away from Aaron and gave me the victory. Now, we
Nine
talked a
points.
little bit about this a minute ago. I've seen some stat corrections before, but 9 full points, that's a lot.
There was probably a debt collector coming to collect on some interest on that dead cat money, which currently sits at $80 million. Got to get that in every week. I'm sorry, Aaron.
Uh, I love the debt collecting. Oh, that's good. That's good. So sorry, Aaron. That is one more L in your L column, which is in double digits and is inching you closer to that pink trophy, which I'm sure you're excited about. All right. So now that we have our week 11 business out of the way, let's go ahead and jump to our week 12. As always, it's going to start with my matchups here because that's how it's always laid out. Rich just hanging one on me. This guy's going to crack 400 this week. Um,
Rich has been playing. Rich has been throwing up some ungodly type big numbers of late, and he is a team that you don't want to be playing right now. Um, we'll get to it a little bit in the future here at the end of the show, but he's got a nice matchup with Braxton next week to shape up the NFC or the AFC East over there. But Rich has got everything firing on. He's got a team who's firing on all engines right now, so he's putting up some good scores. And he could hit the 400 mark again. He should hit the 400 mark again, I should say. And he'll be the first one to do it twice.
Yeah, that's a lot. I was a little nervous. I put the wrong offense in. Both of my offenses played Thursday, but who knew the Packers were going to play their best game of the season? I did. I certainly didn't. Yeah. So, not the case in this matchup. However, I'm most likely going to be splitting against the AFC East here and taking the W against Jeremy. I've got DJ Moore, Byron Murphy, and Harrison Smith to go. So with almost a 40-point cushion and him just one to go, I should lock that one up.
It's quite a few points for you still tonight, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah, so even if I get up to 340, I'm still going to get smashed by Rich, is the unfortunate part. All right, so moving on to this one here. Jason trying to make it a game, but Nick's still got 3 to play and already cracked 300.
Nick's got 3 to play. He's got a cornerback, a linebacker, and his kicker left. So roughly, if they're averaging probably about another 34 points to come to his average.
Yeah, I looked at the scores last night right before halftime of the late window, so the 4:00 games, and I was actually leading, and I came home to see that Jalen Hurts decided to play football in the
It
second
doesn't
half.
help that he goes in. It doesn't help that he goes into overtime and gets the extra yardage and the extra touchdown in overtime.
Yeah, Yeah, the guy had 23 yards at halftime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he was not playing very well in that first half whatsoever. Yeah, quite the comeback there for the Eagles.
Well,
And the battle of two Baltimore running backs, one of them being the highly sought after taxi claim here, Mr. Keaton Mitchell.
which he got right on the time, right at 3
Yeah.
o'clock sharp.
Moving on.
Here we got a game
Um,
with Dustin and Dan this weekend. It looks like Dustin's going to take this game. They both got one player left, but 40 points. Dan coming up with an extra 40 points tonight is just probably too much.
Dan's got his quarterback going though. Who's his quarterback?
It looks that way.
Oh,
Did he start Dobbs this week?
oh yeah, he must have. Yeah. Dobbs has been good, but he's not exactly been a fantasy all-star. But
Well, he has yet to hit 40 points, but he has hit 30 at 3 of the last 4 weeks.
okay. Yeah, so most likely keeps it close, but not enough to put him over the edge here. Dave, how are we feeling in this matchup with a 54-point lead while Eric has 3 to play?
I was feeling pretty good about it, and then I'm out of bullets, so I've got no players left, and all I can remember is Gavin and his Lions playing on a Monday night, just chewing me up and overcoming 50 or 60-point lead that I had that night. So the way this season's gone for me, I don't trust anything. But Eric's got his defensive end coming, Hunter, which is just a monster playing against the Bears. Cornerback and a safety. I looked it up. Hunter versus the Bears earlier this year, he got like 40-some points just by himself. So, yeah, it's not – I mean, even though his average is 24, knowing that he's already put a 40-point on the Bears this year, it doesn't make me feel very good. But, this is a must-win for me. I have to go 2-0 this weekend if I want to stay alive, or I'll be sitting on the sidelines. So
I will say you did start turning it around at the right time in the year. You got a nail biter going into playoffs here.
Yep.
2 weeks? 2 weeks left.
Yeah, Hunter has been such a monster though, and the Bears' offensive line is playing better, but still, they're going to have to double that guy, or he's going to be in the backfield all night.
I mean, I'd rather be up by 54 points than having to chase 54 points. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
But not a comfortable feeling.
No, it's a much more comfortable chair to sit in with that lead. You just gotta hope not to see Hunter in the backfield all night.
Correct.
Josh is making his way into the win column. Does he have enough left here to crack 300?
Yes, Josh has got 5 players left, a lot of Bear players. And again, it looks like he's going to get another victory, move that victory total to number 3. So a good game for Josh. Rough weekend for Gavin and his Ravens, and I guess his Lions, I should say. So as the Lions go, so does Gavin.
Yeah, definitely a rough game for the Lions. That was kind of weird to watch. Like, what am I witnessing here?
I do have an interesting stat fact for you guys there in that sense. The Lions on Thanksgiving Thursday are 0-12 when it's a Wanus Gibbous moon. And it actually was a Wanus Gibbous moon on Thursday. So they are 0-13 on Thanksgiving during a Wanus Gibbous moon now.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I'd love to know who gets paid to look those stats up.
Not me, but I found it, and now you guys all know.
That's a good one.
Well, they shared it during the game because I heard it. So they do have a stat digger somewhere.
It's that unpaid intern at ESPN. All right. Moving on. Jeremy also faces the Broncos here. Broncos with a 13-point lead, but only 2 to play versus 1 to play. 2, 3, 4. Looks like Jeremy still has another
Jeremy's got a flex player
player.
going yet.
Uh, 5. Sean's flex players are done.
Oh, he's got Hawkinson going. Yeah, I looked that up earlier.
Oh,
Jeremy's got
yeah.
Hawkinson going.
It's some really good potential. This definitely isn't over. I mean, you still have two against one and 13 points. But without Jefferson's not playing tonight. So
Sean's got linebacker Jordan Hicks. Who else is he getting? So he's only going to have one defensive tackle. Who else is he going to be throwing out there?
He's got his punter going.
Oh,
So, there's
okay.
probably 8 points
Okay.
there.
Okay. Now, Jordan Hicks has had some huge games in the last couple of years. But Jeremy is definitely not out of it. He could overcome that for sure.
And this is a big game for Jeremy. Jeremy needs a good week. He's right on the outside of the playoff bubble right now, sitting I think as a tiebreaker outside of Rich and his Dolphins.
Yeah, and Sean probably needs one of these matchups too, or he's going to end up splitting like me, and we're going to stay tied. So just kind of fast forwarding. This is the other one. But yeah, that's not looking too good with a 47-point deficit, having the same number of players to go. So he's going to have to win that one to split this week.
And I think with that game there, I think Braxton wins. It could be interesting in that Tennessee Bengals game with Nick and Dustin with that with the number 1 seed up for grabs. If Nick was to slip and not win one tonight, and Braxton goes 2-0, Braxton's going to slide back into that number 1 seed.
Yeah, let's go back to these other two I skipped here. Yeah, so unless Aaron gets a huge stat correction in his favor this week,
it's going to need about 90 points to make that happen.
Oh goodness, the tax collector of dead cap. Oh, I love it. Yeah, and Braxton, he might be. Is he going to be sweeping the West this week?
Yeah, it looks like he's going to go 2-0 this weekend.
Yeah, it sure looks like it. Yep, not enough left here on Jared's roster to make up that deficit here. Skipping past this one. This one still could be interesting. Jared's only got a 13-point lead here. They both have one to go.
And Jared's got his coach still going. I'm not sure who on the. I'd have to look at Joey, what Joey's got left, but see what Joey's got left. He's got an offense. You got an offense going up against a coach.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd give the advantage to the offense.
Coach.
But I don't. I'm not seeing more than an 11-point difference unless.
No.
Which coach does he have? Unless he just takes an absolute 0.
Hopefully not Eberflus. Actually, I already know Josh has Eberflus, so it's not him. So
Josh, Jared's got the Minnesota coach, so
there we go.
That should be pretty safe with a win over the Bears.
You would think so. You would think so. The Vikings have actually played pretty well over here over the last month and a half.
So,
just like the Broncos.
All right. So this one, something to watch, but Jared's probably going to lock this one up. Yeah, Rich again with that 395. Not a lot's going to touch that.
What was the spread on this game? Out of curiosity, do we remember?
I screenshotted it.
Well, whatever it is, Rich covered it. You'd have to screenshot it.
Dang.
Was it 150?
No, I don't think it was over 100, but because I think didn't Nick have the one that was over 100?
Yeah, it was probably for me if I had to.
Did. I don't know what the heck Firefox did. It moved all of my downloads. Oh, there we go. I know I got a screenshot in here. Just gonna look. Yeah, they moved too much stuff. Not gonna look. Change my mind. I remember where I am. Here we go. Jason's gonna lock this one up.
I will say
Gavin's out of
I'm
player.
very happy with this win because it clinches me to not have that stupid license plate cover again next year. I am officially free of it after our draft.
Yeah, but did you check your car? Because I think the screws and bolts may have rusted out, and those might be permanent now. You might not be able to get those
I'll
off.
grind them down.
You'll grind
Trust
it
me,
down?
I got my ways.
So I can't wait to see Aaron put that on his pink Jeep.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Moving on to this one.
Again,
Dave, I
I'm
don't
up by
know.
90 points. I'm still gun shy with after what Gavin and the Lions did to me on a Monday night. For all I know, the Bears may go crazy. He's got 5 Bears playing tonight. You know, anything's happened this year. I can't predict anything anymore. So
Yeah, but you said 5 Bears. I think you're all right.
Unless those 5 Bears are quite literally Justin Fields, DJ Moore,
the 5 Bears are
Cole Kmet.
Gillian Herbert, Daryl Mooney, Komet, Sanborn, and Santos.
Oh, you're fine.
He's got Fields. He didn't start him. And I've got more. But yeah, 5 to go. I don't know. He might make Dave's butthole pucker a little bit. We'll see.
Well, him and Eric both.
Maybe Dave will get a stat correction and lose 9 points.
I hope not.
Yeah, he's going to be cursing you if that happens next week. All right, moving on. This one looks like it's going to get locked up by Eric here. 13-point lead, 3 to play versus 1 to play.
Again, Eric's still got some power left on the bench. He's got a good chance of catching me, so I don't think Dan can keep up with him.
You know what's crazy is even in games where the Commanders don't really play that well, Sam Howell is still chucking 300 passing yards, which I know a lot of that's garbage time, but like a lot of their games are garbage time. He's still throwing 300 yards every game.
He is leading the NFL in passing yards and sacks.
Yeah. He was on pace for an NFL record for a while there. I was keeping track of that.
I'm pretty sure he's still on pace for the record, just not for 94 sacks.
That was insane. Okay, last but not least is possibly the matchup of the night here.
I think it's the matchup of the night. Dustin's got one player left, Monte Sweat, who's averaging 16 points a game. Nick's got 3 players left. He's got a corner, Kyle Gordon, a linebacker, and Edmonds, and his kicker, and Greg Joseph. Those 3 are averaging 34.3 points a game. So he had Sweat's 16 points in with Dustin's 17-point lead. It looks like that's a recipe for disaster waiting for a stat correction as a tie.
Wow. Yeah, that is a coin flip right there.
It's a coin flip. It's got you got the defending champ trying to hold off Eric and the Jags for the division. You got Nick playing for the number 1 seed against Braxton. One of these two are not going to be happy with the outcome of this game. So I'm expecting a good game right there. Just watching these two duke it out.
Yeah, that's a good one right there. That is definitely the one to watch for sure. A lot of implications online over this matchup.
Yep.
Interesting. All right. So those are all of the week 11 matchups. Again, this is definitely the one to watch here. And then, of course, we can pay attention to whether Dave's Monday night luck continues.
I'll be cursing out Gavin and his damn Lions because that still haunts me. I went from 2-0 that weekend to an 0-2.
Oh, wow. Wow. All right, so let's go ahead and skip forward here to week 12 and see what we have to look forward to. Week 13,
Week
my goodness.
13, we actually get back into conference play for the last 2 weeks. So the AFC East is going to continue to pound on each other. So somebody's got to lose in the AFC East next week. If I happen to go 2-0, then I've got a very meaningful game with Nick, as I'm still fighting for my life in the playoff life. And if Nick goes 1-1, he'd be playing for obviously the division win there. So there's a lot of playoff implications coming with next 13 and 14. A lot of interconference games, interdivision games. So obviously it's exciting for those that are still fighting for that playoff spot.
Yeah, everything left is divisional at this point. Yeah, all division matchups. Yeah, going to be interesting. Going to be interesting, especially with that AFC East all going up against each other, beating each other up.
Be very interesting to see how it does play out.
We'll see what Joey does after he lost Burrows for the year. See if he can still manage to put a quarterback out there to keep him competitive to continue to fight in that AFC East also.
It's also possible, again, if Sean's Broncos, if he is able to pull off that other matchup and split, if we both win next week, we'd be going to a week 14 matchup tied again. And there's a chance the loser may miss the playoffs.
That is correct.
Which is what happened to me last year. Going into week 14, I was in the playoffs, and then I lost a shot and I was out. So, and I think that was all because Dave beat Nick, and Nick had a higher tiebreaker than I did. I think we had the same record.
And I beat Nick and had a division tiebreaker with him too. So until that's taken away, I'm still the AFC North division champ. I just want to put a plug in there. Nick hasn't earned it yet. I'm sure I'll be reminded when he does, though.
Yeah, and he's not watching live, so you can say whatever you want.
Oh, I'll hear about it later still.
Oh, there you go. All right, just for fun, I've done this the last couple weeks. I want to do this again. I'm going to scroll all the way up here to our
player stats.
Yeah, biggest score this week, because there's just sometimes some names that jump out at you that's like, really? Like Rashawn Gary. I mean, a 52-point explosion out of Rashawn Gary is not something you would expect for a guy that only has one other week above 18. Now, he was a first round pick a few years back, but still, just stuff like that, I think is amazing. It's also a very good reason why the Packers beat up on the Lions on Thursday.
I do have to highlight something. I'll just tell you a little strange experience yesterday. And my son and I, when we watch football, we have fantasy football, we always say real football first is more important than fantasy football stuff. Mm-hmm. But you see number 6 there, Jesse Bates went off for like 40-some points.
Yes.
And, 45 points or whatever it was. And yesterday we're watching the game, and he gets a pick 6 against the Saints, which is the difference maker in the game, changed the whole momentum. And I'm like, well, shit, I'm going up against Jesse Bates. And Jesse Bates just went off yesterday in my fantasy world, but I was rooting for him in real life. So it would have been a good weekend for Eric just to put him on the bench for me, but no, I had to suffer through that one every time he was making all those tackles in the secondary.
Wow. Yeah, you got a really good week out of Jordan Love, though. Like, that offense looked legit.
Yeah, well, who would have known that? And I had him sitting on the bench.
Yeah, but again, how can you figure that out? They've been so sporadic this year on offense.
Well, the one that surprises me is right above them, and that's C.J. Stroud. I've got him in a different league, and Stroud just continues to put numbers up. as a rookie with the Texans. I mean,
he seriously has to be in the MVP conversation. He's going absolutely crazy. There's very few players that I would say deserves to be in that conversation right now. Two of them are 49ers. Then you've got CJ Stroud, Tua, and that's really about it, honestly, right now.
but I think Stroud has had an amazing year for what he's doing there in Texas with this just in his first year. And who would have thought he would be light years ahead of Bryce Young? I mean, just amazing.
His testing did not say this at all. Like, he had the lowest test scores out of, like, in a long time. And it's astounding to see what he can do.
It's that arm talent. He is insanely accurate with the ball. He just puts it in the right spot on seemingly every throw. It's really, really fun to watch. And he did it at Ohio State. He just he's got all these pro receivers. Well, pro receivers don't become pro receivers without a pro level quarterback.
Yep.
Not always. But to produce multiple pro receivers, I think that says something.
Ohio State has been really good at pumping out NFL caliber wide receivers here recently.
Yeah, they do. But yeah, they finally got a quarterback to show for it. Funny thing is, they might can their coach because they can't beat Michigan.
They should. Honestly, they should. And they need to find a better quarterback because that guy is not good. I don't even know his name. And he's not good.
Well, I'm sure they'll have somebody in the portal lining up to take his spot.
Possibly even a Manning.
Yeah, right. Possibly. Very true. All right, guys. I think that pretty much does it for our Week 12 wrap up. Anything else you guys want to add before we sign off?
I'm just asking for a low scoring game. No Bears touchdowns. No sacks by Hunter tonight. Non-eventful, low scoring game tonight.
Yeah, just an old fashioned 1960s AFC North clash, 9-6, right?
Yeah,
something
like
where Daniil Hunter gets 15 tackles.
Yeah, no tackles for Hunter, no sacks for Hunter. I don't need him going off tonight.
Gonna triple team him. Oh, good stuff. All right. Thanks, everybody that tuned in. Nobody did, but you'll watch it later, and we appreciate everybody that does. If you're not already, subscribe to the channel. You'll get notifications when our videos go live. For the I almost did it again. I almost said not your father's. Not for the Not Your Mother's Day Fantasy League podcast. I've been Mike, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.
Oh, Dave. Oh, I was about to say Dave didn't leave.